Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are in the world, and welcome to this info session for the Humanitarian Water Engineering course. My name is Syed Imran Ali. I am the course director for Humanitarian Water Engineering. On behalf of the Dabla Institute for Global Health Research, the Lassana School of Engineering, and SIFAL, a unitar at York University, my most sincere welcomes to you all. With me today is our assistant course director, James Brown. So welcome, James. Glad to have you here with us today. And welcome all to this info session for the fall offering of the HWE course. What I'd like to do today is walk you through three key topic areas, okay? I want to introduce the course to you first. What is this course going to equip you to do? Who is the course meant for? And who you'll be learning from over the course of the 3 months of the HWE course. I want to give you a quick overview of the content that we cover. So what are the topics we look at in each of our units? What kind of teaching methods do we use as an all online course? And what is the timeline for the course and the expectations for participants? I want to end off then with benefits of participation. What do past participants have to say about the course? What do participants receive after completing the course requirements? And how can people take this for credit in their various professional capacities? This will take about half an hour or so, and then we'll have 30 minutes for Q&A that James and I will handle any other questions you might have. Yeah, and this session will run for about an hour. We're recording it today, so I just want to let you all know that it'll be available online for those later who want to refer back to it. Okay, great. So let me dive right in. Before I begin, at any point, if you have any questions, feel free to drop them into the chat box. And then when we get to the Q&A period, James and I will handle the questions there. So feel free to drop them there. Otherwise, when we get to the Q&A period, you can raise your hands and we'll take questions verbally as well. Okay. So let me give you a quick introduction to what this course aims to do. So our objective in this course is to prepare you to be an effective water and sanitation specialist in the field, focusing on the humanitarian water supply aspects. What we want this course to do for you is to equip you to be able to understand and assess a situation during a humanitarian emergency. We want you to be able to ask the right kinds of questions as you design a response strategy. And then we want you to know where to go for in-depth technical guidance on how to design and implement that strategy. Now, each of the units we're going to cover in this course could be its own standalone unit. There's a lot of technical depth in the engineering there. We don't have time to get into the full technical depth of each unit. Instead, our goal is to give you an overview of each unit topic so you know what you have to think about as you develop a program, and you know where to look for more detailed guidance to deploy in the field. That's our goal with this course. Now, who is this course meant for? We have three key target areas that we're trying to bring into this course. We designed this course to really help humanitarian professionals who are currently working in the field. A lot of folks have been working for many years in humanitarian response. As we know, 90% of the humanitarian workforce are national staff who lead these efforts on the ground. We want this course to be able to provide some technical background for folks who have never had an opportunity to have any formal training on water sanitation, hygiene, and water engineering and humanitarian response. Maybe folks have been doing it, learning by doing. We want to give some technical background, some theoretical underpinning for the work that people are already doing in the field. Another core constituency we want to bring into this course are professional engineers and other technical specialists who have these existing skill sets, but they want to see how it's applied in a humanitarian setting. So help translate those skills for work in the humanitarian setting, and also give an introduction about what is the work like, what are the ways of working in the humanitarian sector. The third constituency that we go after for this course are graduate students, so mostly in engineering, but also from other technical areas, who want to deepen their technical knowledge and gain some exposure to the humanitarian sector, maybe to go into it later on or in their next steps in their career. Now, for this course, we brought together a really amazing group of a dozen experienced humanitarian practitioners and engineering faculty who you'll be learning from. First, I want to introduce our two amazing facilitators who really brings a lot of experience and talent to facilitation and will be guiding the students through the problem-based learning aspect of the course, which I'll tell you a bit about later. First up, I have Dr. Khalid Qadir, who is a continuing lecturer at the University of California, Berkeley. He's also served as a water and sanitation specialist with Global Support for Development, a US-based NGO, where he supported rapid responses to emergencies in the Caribbean. He has a highly distinguished teaching and research career at UC Berkeley, including receiving the university's Distinguished Teaching Award, which is the highest prestigious honor for teaching at the university. Our second talented facilitator is Ms. Cheryl McDonald. Cheryl is a chartered civil engineer and humanitarian professional with over 18 years of experience in humanitarian response. She served as an advisor for the UK government's Global WASH Results Program and is a humanitarian expert on UNICEF's WASH programming evaluation. She's been on the Red Cross emergency roster since 2011, so a very experienced person. Both Khalid and Cheryl will be working with each of the PBL groups very closely to help them understand and develop design responses to the challenges. I'll tell you a bit more about that later on. Next, we have a fantastic group of engineering faculty and humanitarian practitioners who are going to be our subject matter experts for the lectures for each of the units of the course. First up, we have Professor Stephanie Gora, who's one of our engineering faculty lecturers. She's assistant professor of civil engineering here at the Lassonde School of Engineering at York University. She's registered as a professional engineer in Ontario and Nova Scotia here in Canada. And you'll be learning from both Professor Gora and I on Unit 1 on water quality. Next, we have Mr. Matt Arnold, who is one of our SME or subject matter expert lecturers. Matt has been emergency water and sanitation advisor for Médecins Sans Frontières, MSF, in the Amsterdam headquarters from 2011 until 2018. He now works as a hydrogeologist as a dewatering specialist with WJ Groundwater, an engineering consultancy firm here in Toronto. We'll be learning from Matt in Unit 2 on water source development. And Matt has been involved in water supply projects, groundwater development, surface water supply projects all over the world in humanitarian response with MSF and other humanitarian organizations. So he'll be telling us about his experiences and translating the technical fundamentals with the field lens for Unit 2 for us. Next up, we have Professor Satinder Brar, who is one of our engineering faculty lecturers. Professor Brar is a James and Joanne Love Chair in Environmental Engineering at York University's Lassonde School of Engineering. She's a leader in the field of environmental engineering research. She's co-edited 15 books on environmental engineering and has over 350 research publications. Professor Brar and I will be lecturing together for Unit 3 on water treatment. Next, I'd like to introduce Mr. Andy Bastable, who is one of our SME lecturers. Andy has over 30 years of emergency and development field experience on water and sanitation. He joined Oxfam in 1990 and became the public health engineering team leader in 2002, a position he's held now for more than 20 years. With Andy, we'll have Brian McSorley, who's our second SME lecturer from Oxfam. Brian is water and sanitation advisor in Oxfam's global humanitarian team. He has over 30 years of professional engineering and management experience. Both Andy and Brian and our very own James Brown, Associate Course Director, will be delivering our Unit 4 lectures on water distribution and the safe water chain. Also with us from Oxfam is Ms. Michelle Farrington. Michelle is a public health and community engagement specialist with more than 15 years of experience in the field. Michelle has worked for WaterAid, for IMC, the International Medical Corps, and Oxfam, where she is the Deputy Humanitarian Director at present. Michelle will be our SME lecturer for Unit 5 on outbreak response and preparedness. Also with Michelle, we have Mr. Toby Gould. Toby is a public health engineer and has worked with DFID in the UK, UNICEF, Save the Children, Oxfam, MSF, the British Red Cross Society, the International Research Center, and REDAR. He's a specialist, especially on WASH and healthcare facilities, and will be leading our exploration of that topic in Unit 5. I'd also like to introduce our faculty advisor, who, along with Professor Brar, provides strategic guidance for the course. Dr. James Urbinski is a professor and the inaugural director of York University's Davila Institute for Global Health Research, where we are based. Dr. Urbinski is a medical doctor and has worked with Médecins Sans Frontières, MSF, Doctors Without Borders for many, many years. He served as international president of MSF, co-chaired the founding of the Drugs for Neglected Diseases Initiative, and co-founded the medical NGO Dignitas prior to joining York University. He's an officer of the Order of Canada and received the Emeritus Service Cross for his work with MSF during the Rwandan genocide in Somalia, Yugoslavia, and elsewhere around the world. Now, next up, I'd like to introduce our Associate Course Director, Mr. James Brown. James is a water and sanitation and public health engineering expert with over 10 years of experience. James has a master's degree in engineering and design. He's worked with Oxfam, the Global Wash Cluster, GOAL, and NRC all over the world. I'd like to just invite James to say hello and to say a few words. Hi, James.
Hi everyone. Wonderful to see you all here. It's great to be kicking off this information session, and we're really excited to be putting everything together and getting ready to kick off the course at the beginning of September. So yeah, I'm really excited to meet all the participants and to be running through this this pretty challenging but very exciting course with you all. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, James. And finally, let me introduce myself. My name is Imran Ali. I'm an environmental engineer by training and an aid worker by vocation. I've worked as a water and sanitation specialist with MSF and led operational research in the field with MSF and UNHCR. I'm now based here at York University's Davila Institute, where I lead research on water and public health and humanitarian crises. So I'm really, really proud of the team that we've assembled, drawing from the best of field practice, from practitioners, drawing from fantastic engineering specialists we have here at the university that are going to present to you the technical fundamentals of the 5 topic areas we're going to be looking at in the course, as well as how they're applied practically in the field. So on that note, let me walk you through what the content we're going to cover for this course, okay? So the way we've organized this course is that we have an initial pre-reading phase. It's about the first 2 or 3 weeks. And then we have the intensive course phase where we really dive into the 5 technical topics of the course, and we do our lectures and our problem-based learning activities, right? The pre-reading phase, so that starts in September, really focuses on 2 core units that lay the foundation for everything else we're going to be doing in the course. Those 2 core units are humanitarian principles, standards, and structures. So this is about the ways of working in the humanitarian sector. And the second unit is on water and public and environmental health. So why WASH really matters for protecting public health in emergencies. Now, these 2 pre-reading units provide a crucial set of lenses that are going to help you throughout the course. So we kind of front load them, and they apply all throughout the material that comes later on. Once we get through the pre-reading phase, and let me say something else about the pre-reading phase. The reason we have the pre-reading phase here is because we have participants from all sorts of different backgrounds. We have some experienced humanitarian professionals, we have some engineering professionals, we have some graduate students. So we have a mix of backgrounds and experiences and expertise in the course. The purpose of these initial pre-reading units is to help provide a level playing field for everybody to come in. Some people might be really, really strong in the technical part, but maybe don't understand how the humanitarian sector works. There might be people who are very experienced in the humanitarian sector, but have never had the benefit of an engineering background. So we provide this kind of fundamental introduction to give people the same basis to work from, so you can work effectively in a problem-based learning groups. So we really emphasize these 2 units at the start of the course. Now, once we get through those first 2 units, then we dive into the technical heart of the course, which we've broken into 5 technical units. Unit 1 is on water quality characterization and risk assessment. Unit 2 is on water source development in emergencies. Unit 3 is on water treatment in emergencies. Unit 4 is on distribution and the safe water chain. And Unit 5 focuses on outbreak preparedness and response. You can see that there's a sort of logical flow with each of these units. First, we understand what is in the water with Unit 1. We figure out how to develop water sources with Unit 2, figure out how to treat the water in Unit 3. In Unit 4, we figure out how to distribute it and make sure it's safe when it gets to people. And Unit 5, we kind of bring these units together to think about cumulatively, how do we combine these different interventions in the face of a waterborne disease outbreak. Next, let me tell you a bit about the different pedagogical or teaching methods that we use in this online course. Now, for each unit, we have a set of core readings that provide a comprehensive overview of the technical fundamentals of that unit topic, right? For each unit, we provide a reading guide, which provides an introduction of the core concepts that we want to hit on in that unit, as well as unit objectives and expected learning outcomes. So they really help to frame what you're going to find in those readings. We also provide reflection questions that you can refer to as you read. Some of these we'll post as well to our online class forum to help generate some conversation and draw out the questions you might be coming up with as you go through your readings. Now, the core readings are curated to provide a comprehensive overview of each area and to prepare you to contribute meaningfully in those group design activities. Each unit has about 2 to 3 hours of core readings. And we also provide, as you see here, sorry, I'm getting a little pop-up here. I'm going to deny this locally. We have a recording on ourselves, so we can provide it later via email if anyone requests, and we may post online. So just reach out to us after the course if you want a recording of it. I just got a request for that. Anyway, so for each unit, for each reading, as you see here on the right, we provide a guidepost which kind of frames what's in the reading, how it relates to the learning objectives for units, and what sections are most relevant for you to read. So they really help structure how you're going to engage with these readings. We also provide a number of enrichment readings. So if you're familiar with the core readings already and you want to gain additional depth on a particular topic, the enrichment guidance readings really help you go in deep there. And we also provide the guidepost statements for each of those. Now, altogether, we estimate there's about 20 hours of core readings for the course, and about double that if you want to do the enrichment readings as well. What we say to everybody on the course is that know yourself. If you know that you're strong in a particular area, you don't have to spend a lot of time reading those core readings that you may already be familiar with. Skim them, be sure you're comfortable with them, and then dive into the enrichment readings. This course is ultimately self-directed. The more you put into it, the more you're going to get out of it. Really investing the readings is useful because that's the stuff you're going to take in to your problem-based learning group. So you can really get a lot of distance out of your readings when you apply them to problem-based learnings, if you really invest the time in doing them. But it's ultimately self-directed, and we let people determine for themselves what they want to focus on in the core and enrichment. Let me move forward. So each unit also has a quiz. And the quiz is here to help test the comprehension of only the core reading. So the enrichment material is not included in the core readings. In the quizzes, it's just the core readings. The quizzes are a required component of the course. Participants have to achieve a grade of 80% to pass the quiz, and you have to pass all the unit quizzes to successfully pass the course. It's one of the components. It's not the only one, but it's one of the components that are required. The great thing is you have unlimited attempts. So if you find you're struggling with a particular question, you can go back to your readings. You can try it again, the quiz. You can post it to the course forum, and then the course directors, the teaching team, or the other participants can feed in answers to help guide you on those wherever you struggle. And then you can go back and try again. Right? You can also come to us and ask those questions directly, and we're here to help you work through any sticky problems you encounter, anything you don't understand in the readings. Yeah. So the quizzes are really meant to help you engage critically with the readings and try to apply them on your own before you go into the problem-based learning with your groups. Okay. Now, for each of our technical units, we have a lecture, and the lecture is presented by the subject matter experts and the engineering faculty I introduced at the start of this session. Each lecture for each unit is a 2-hour session, and it's broken into 2 parts. The first part deals with the technical fundamentals of that core topic. So what are the basic engineering technical fundamentals you need to know, to understand, to apply that in the field. And then the second part is how it's actually applied in the humanitarian response. So we take those technical fundamentals and look at how they actually look in the humanitarian response field. Now, our lectures are delivered all online. Attendance is mandatory, but we do record them and make them available online for anybody who is unable to attend. We encourage people to attend the lectures because the lectures themselves are about 40 minutes in length. And then we have a 20-minute question and answer period with the lecturing expert. So that's a really, really excellent opportunity to come with the questions you have from your readings, anything you struggle with, things that you've seen in your experience that you want to put to an expert on the topic. So that's a really, really valuable session. We always find that we never have enough time for all the questions that come from the group. We try to take those questions and write responses and post them online afterwards. But really, you're going to get a lot of value out of the course if you come to the lectures, come with questions from the readings and the quizzes, and then put them to the experts that we've put together for you during these sessions. Now, one of the really unique elements of the Humanitarian Water Engineering course is our focus on problem-based learning. So the goal of problem-based learning is to provide a structured space in which you can work through the complexities of applying the theoretical basics that you've learned in your readings and in the lectures to real-world problems. So in each unit, we've devised unique kinds of water supply related challenges for which you have to come up with, justify, and prioritize possible solutions in small working groups together, really simulating the kind of work that you'll be doing in humanitarian response. Now, each group, as I mentioned at the start, has these two amazing facilitators that will be assigned to work with you. They'll help you think through how to approach the problem, any ambiguities or questions you might have, and what the challenge is, and help you work through any sticky problems that you might encounter as you develop your design response. The way we structure the problem-based learning is each unit is made up of 2 weeks. So the first week focuses on the readings, the quizzes, and then the lecture. And then at the end of the lecture, we release a problem-based learning activity. You then have the next week to work in your small group on the design challenge together with the support of your facilitator. And then we reconvene the next week to do a problem-based learning workshop where each group presents back their responses. We kind of draw out what are the emergent lessons from each of the responses all together, and share back what we learned and came up with for our design solutions. The scenario that we are going to be looking at. So we've created a fictional scenario that you will be working through in each of these design challenges. We're working in a fictional country called Biabazan, which is facing a large refugee crisis. A large number of refugees have fled political violence in the neighboring country of Misolo, also fictional, and crossed the border into Biabazan. These refugees have been moving into a mix of pre-planned camps, spontaneous settlements, and integrating into existing refugee settlements and host communities around the country of Biabazan. Now, conditions are really, really rough in many of these places, and the threat of waterborne diseases looms really, really high. Now, your role as a water sanitation specialist will be to respond to different challenges around the country, for which you're going to design responses in small groups. Now, for each challenge, you're going to be presented with a scenario, a design challenge to solve, and we'll provide different sets of injects that provide additional information about the situation. So for example, in Unit 1, you will assess the water safety risks for different water sources around a proposed refugee camp expansion. In Unit 2, you're going to evaluate the trade-offs between developing a surface water source or a groundwater source, as well as debate how you're going to negotiate with different landowners for access to those water sources. And this is where some of those humanitarian fundamentals will come in, and you will see how they interact with the engineering work that we do as water and sanitation specialists. In Unit 3, you'll be presented with water quality findings from different water sources and have to design a water treatment approach for that water to yield safe and drinkable and acceptable water for the population. In Unit 4, you're going to design a water distribution network for a camp based on a topographic survey of the area, as well as use a participatory community mapping exercise to help site water distribution points around a refugee community and assess the risks and benefits that each siting might entail. In Unit 5, you're going to coordinate a response to an AWD, an acute water diarrhea outbreak, maybe it's cholera, with the health cluster, and design a water system for a AWD cholera treatment center. Now, each PBL is composed of multiple questions, so this is just a flavor of the sort of things you'll be working on during the PBLs. Now, what we recall is that oftentimes students, they're a little hesitant to do the PBLs. because you have to work in small groups. They're open-ended problems. They're a little bit challenging to get your head around. That's why the facilitators are there to help you figure out the ways of working for your group and how to approach the challenges. So people are usually a little trepidatious to start out in the process. Over the course of those 5 units, though, by the end, all the participants say that that's their favorite aspect of the course, because they really get to work together with others from diverse backgrounds from all over the world, bring their unique expertise and background to inform the challenge and come up with really interesting design solutions, weigh the pros and cons to real world challenges. So we always get the feedback that the PBLs are people's favorite part of the course, although at the start, people are a little bit nervous about diving into them. Now, one thing I want to emphasize is that this is a global course. So we have people from all over the world working together as groups. We try so far as possible to organize those groups so that we have similar time zones grouped together. But because it's a global course, we ask that people be flexible. For some people, it might be earlier in your day. For other people, it might be later in your day or during the workday. We ask that you try to be flexible to find time to work with the groups. Use a lot of the instant messaging or online tools that we have to help facilitate the work if you're not able to participate during particular hours. And the same thing with the lecturers. So for some people, the lectures might be at different times of the day. The workshops might be at different times of the day. So we ask people to be flexible with respect to how the timing will play out in your local time zone. Okay. Let me walk you through some of the course timelines and what our expectations are of the course. So applications are still open. They'll be open until August 29th, and then the registration deadline is shortly thereafter. The course starts officially on September 6th. And we have a welcome session on September 6th, where we'll present some of this material about the course, but in more depth about what you'll be doing. We'll also start off one of our unit lectures for the pre-reading units at that session. After that session, we'll release the pre-reading units A and B, and you'll have about 3 weeks to work through those readings and quizzes. During that time as well, we'll start organizing the PBL groups, and the facilitators will reach out to each group to organize a kickoff session. So you can get together, meet your group, figure out your way of working, so you're ready to dive into the problem-based learning design challenges once we get into the intensive course phase, which will start on September 25th. And that runs for about 10 weeks or so until December 6th. December 6th is our last course day. That's the final workshop session, which runs a little bit longer, about an hour longer. So we have some time for closing remarks. This year, we're going to be meeting every Wednesday. And as I mentioned, each unit is 2 weeks long. So the first Wednesday is a lecture, and the second Wednesday is the PBL workshop for the unit. Overall, with readings, quizzes, lectures, PBL group work, individual work, and then the workshops, the total time commitment is about 70 hours over 12 weeks. So about 5 to 6 hours per week in total over the entire duration of the course. So as we really emphasize, be aware of what your schedule is going to be like over the course of the 10 weeks of the course, 12 weeks of the course. Understand like the time zones. So we are in the Eastern Standard Time Zone. Our lectures are from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Eastern Standard. So what is that time locally? And then try to arrange your work so that you can contribute meaningfully to your PBL groups, you can attend the lectures and have enough time to do the readings. We've built in enough time to do it as long as you consistently work at it. So you do your readings the first week, you come to the lecture, then you start working on the PBL group work the next week. It's spread out, it's about 5 to 6 hours per week. Now, this course is evaluated on a pass, no pass basis. To receive a pass for this course, participants have to complete the following things. You have to complete all the readings, the core readings, that is. You have to pass the unit quizzes. You have to engage with the lectures and the PBL workshops, and you have to attend and actively participate in your PBL group work. Now, we understand that a lot of people are active humanitarian responders. They're in the field. They might be moving around. They might be in areas without good connectivity. What we completely understand those constraints. So what we ask is that if you know you're going to be away for a particular lecture or workshop session, please email us as a course teaching team to let us know. And we'll mark it as, okay, this person will be away, it's fine. And we'll provide a recording of the lectures and the workshops. So you can follow up on your own time whenever you're able to. The PBL group work requires you to coordinate with your team and then attend working sessions. If you're not able to come to a meeting, then please find another way of working. We're really emphasizing offline communication, so using tools like Slack, email, or instant messaging to help coordinate your work. So find another way of contributing to your group's work for each week. And we do have periodic peer evaluations for the PBL group work, so we can do a quick check on how things are going within each group, what's really working for the group, and what could be better for each group, right? We also, for the evaluation, have a distinction category. These are for folks who demonstrate leadership in their PBL groups and go above and beyond these expectations for the course, especially during the PBL. Now, there's a couple of other expectations that I really want to emphasize. This course, the working language of the course is in English. So we expect people to have a working fluency in English, especially for the PBL group work. All the lectures and workshops are conducted in English as well. So that's really something I want to emphasize here. Participants need to have a stable and reliable internet connection with enough bandwidth for at least audio for online meetings. We understand that not everybody has high enough bandwidth for video. For those who do, we ask that people turn on the cameras. It just makes for more of an engaging environment during the lectures and workshops in the PBL group work if your cameras are on. But if you're not able to, because of bandwidth restrictions, we understand that as well. But you should have enough bandwidth to be able to participate through audio for these online meetings. And finally, to emphasize again, this is an online course with global enrollment across multiple time zones. So please be prepared to be flexible with respect to when the course events and group work are going to take place with respect to your local time zone. Now, because it's an online course, we rely on a number of online technologies to make the course work. We'll be using York University's eClass environment. This is an online course platform. You'll also be provided with access to the university library online. Now, most of the readings we've selected for the course are public access or open access materials available online. There are some that are restricted access, which you only can access to the university. So we provide access to the university's library so you can have access to download those materials and have them available. Now, all of the course webinars and meetings will take place on the university's Zoom platform. That's where we're meeting today, of course. One key tool that we use a lot in this course is an instant messaging application called Slack. This is really, really important for your PBL group work. It's how you're going to engage with facilitators. So we really emphasize that people, if you're not already using Slack, download it to your mobile device or to your desktop and start engaging with it, because that's really where a lot of your PBL group work is going to take place. We also use a platform called Miro, which is a collaborative whiteboarding software. It's all web-based. So for some of our PBL group work, our workshops, we're going to be using a lot of Miro. So please be familiar with it. You can set up a free account. All of these are free to access at the level that we've been using them. So please feel free to set up an account and start exploring how they work. Finally, of course, we do a lot of word processing, develop presentations and other documents for this course. So we ask that participants have access to Microsoft Office or equivalent Office software, so Open Office or something else, or Google Docs even, for these Office-based activities. I see a lot of questions coming in. I'm really grateful for that. I think we got a lot of time for it. Before we get to Q&A, just want to quickly walk you through what of the benefits of participation. So at the top of the session, I laid out like what are our expectations, what are our aims, what do we want to equip you to do. Those were again to help you understand the situation, ask the right kind of questions, and then know where to go for resources to help you design and implement those strategies. So some of what our participants in the past have said. This is just one, I can only fit a couple here, but we have a lot of testimonials. You can check some of them out on our website as well. Some folks said that this is a course not to miss if you're in the humanitarian sector or you want to switch careers. It's packed with great resources, including the facilitators. People loved Khalid and Cheryl. They're just incredibly talented facilitators, and they're going to be working with you really intensively throughout the course. So people have loved working with the facilitators as well. They've loved the course content, and they found that it's very practical, using real life scenarios. We really emphasize, like, we've capped the enrollment to this course because we really want to emphasize small cohorts. It fosters, some of our participants say, a sense of community amongst participants and a really personalized learning experience. And you get a lot of feedback from your facilitators and peers, which help you improve and stay ahead of the curve. Another participant said that the HW course exposed them to practical engineering education, improve their knowledge, as well as their practical, social, and technical skills. Now, this is a really important aspect of the problem-based learning, is that you work with people from all over the world. You work with people from different kinds of backgrounds. That's really not dissimilar to the way that we work in the humanitarian sector. So there's a lot of that happening here in the course. Something you're also going to come out with better through this course. And what we really want to equip you to do is be a strategic thinker about WASH and emergency, about how to do water supply. So folks have felt that they're in a better response now to work as humanitarian responders than they were before, after taking the course. Now, in terms of certification and other kinds of documented outcomes for the course, we offer a certificate of completion for those participants who complete all the course requirements, as well as distinction for those who are available. We're also able to offer recommendations as the course directors on LinkedIn for those who request it. Now, for York University graduate students, we're able to offer the course for credit as a directed reading course. So we ask, if you're York University graduate student and would like to take this for credit, reach out to us as the course directors, and we can arrange for it to be a directed reading course that you can use for academic credit. We're also able now to offer the course to other graduate students at other Ontario universities, to the Ontario Visiting Graduate Student Program. So if you're at another university in Ontario and want to take this course for credit, please reach out to us and we can set it up through the OVGS program. The course also provides engineering knowledge that participants can consider for their continuing professional development requirements for engineering licensure here in the province of Ontario and other jurisdictions at the participant's discretion. So that was the core material that I wanted to cover. I see we have a really, really healthy chat box here. I'm going to stop sharing my screen and open it up here. James, do you want to?
Sure. Let me jump in. Yeah, we've had been typing away to a lot of you in the chat box, and please continue dropping your questions in there as you have them. I'm going to pull out a couple of questions that I didn't have time to answer in chat. So Frank and Tom are interested in asking about the PBL and trying to understand the kind of the simulated context that we're working with there. So as Imran kind of introduced, it's a completely fictitious scenario, and it's been developed in order for us to be able to bring in aspects of lots of different contexts where we've worked as a course team before, and where we've been involved in humanitarian response. So it's not particularly tied to any geographic area or context. That said, it's a kind of a lower middle income country. We're looking at aspects of climate, aspects of conflict, security. And we really, the intention is to bring in lots of different threads and challenges and nuances that you're likely to find across humanitarian response wherever you're working. So it's it doesn't reflect a particular country, but the lessons that we're teaching and the challenges that we're presenting are likely to be common in a lot of different humanitarian responses. It's not obviously based on Canada, because it's an online course. We're able to bring in people from around the world who have this amazing diversity of experience. You know, a lot of the people that join the course, you know, are from around the world and have a very varied experience and background, and so we're able to bring that experience to the forward. And in your groups, you'll be able to kind of tease out people's experience and learn from people in your group. So I hope that answers that question. There's also a question about the role of sanitation and hygiene behavior change. So obviously this is a course where we really focus on water. We will focus on you know, the safe water chain, water sources, water distribution and treatment, etc. But we really, underneath that kind of technical, the technical aspects of what we're teaching, of course, aspects of behavior change, aspects of hygiene, and the safe water chain. So thinking not just about how do we get water out of the ground and how do we kind of build the infrastructure to get that to a tap stand, but also really understanding the journey that water goes through between the tap stand and consumption at the household, which obviously has a, you know, really relies on kind of hygiene promotion, health promotion, communication, and behavior change approaches. We don't focus specifically on sanitation. Obviously, WASH, as a WASH engineer, as a public health environmental engineer, you are going to be asked to consider sanitation, and water and sanitation are so kind of inseparable, really, as topics. So we do often have a lot of conversations about sanitation, but it's not a specific focus of this course. It's definitely something that we would like to be offering as a course in the future. Imran, there's a question about languages, which whether we're looking at bringing in additional languages in the future. I wonder if you can respond to that.
That's a great question. We do receive requests like that from time to time. Because we're based here in Canada, and our engineering faculty, our language instruction here at the university is in English. This course is fully in English, and we presently don't have the capacity to translate all of the materials to another language. So unfortunately, at the present time, no, we don't have other languages in play.
Thank you. Any other questions? I can see one from Shamim. Is the course appropriate for undergrads?
It's a good question. We generally seek graduate students because we want people to come in with a basic level of technical background to the course. That said, we have made special exceptions for senior level undergraduate students if they had a demonstrated background in waters or engineering or a related field. We can make that determination on a case-by-case basis.
Great, thank you. Frank is asking whether the PBLs are based on a hypothetical scenario. So yeah, it's a completely fictitious hypothetical scenario. And I would say that really, you know, the reason that we have a hypothetical scenario is that it allows us to bring in kind of themes and challenges, problems, complexities that are really important across different scenarios. So that's the reason that we've kind of developed the scenario from scratch is that it allows us to really curate the experience and curate the learning outcomes that we've prioritized.
One more thing I want to emphasize about the problem-based learning is that while our focus is really technical in the course, and we're concerned about the water engineering aspects of maintaining water supply, we understand that none of these things are applied outside of a human context. That's why we really bring in the beginning of the course, humanitarian principles, standards, and structures. Like, what is the situation in which we apply these engineering principles? So you'll see in the PBLs that we have different places where we intersect with those social, political, or economic factors that shape the kinds of responses we develop. So it's not purely technical. What we try to do is bring in those kinds of thinking at different points throughout the course. And having a fictional scenario enables us to create events or scenarios that maybe didn't occur in a particular place, and give us a real place to work through the complexities of the intersection of technical matters with the contextual matters.
Thanks, Imran.
Yeah, no problem. If there are any questions from the crowd, you can feel free to raise your hand as well, and you can ask verbally. Yeah, so there's a question in the chat about field visits and other responsibilities. Again, we completely understand that as active humanitarian responders, as active professional engineers or graduate students, you have very demanding jobs. We ask that you try to schedule the time, and we've published all the dates and times in advance. Where it's not possible, where you'll be traveling, etc., we completely understand that situation. Please let us know in advance. We can provide a recording of a lecture or the workshop sessions, so you can follow up on your own time later and you don't fall behind. For your problem-based group work, you can try to contribute through Slack or email some online channel if you're not able to attend those meetings. So we try to be flexible. What we find ultimately is that there's a range of how intensively people are able to engage. That's just the reality of the situation people are in. So what we always say is that because it's a self-directed course, the more you put into it, the more you're going to get out. So put in as much as you can, and we will not penalize people for having difficult, challenging situations in their jobs. Great. Thank you for joining us, Judith. Okay. Are there any other questions?
Hi, Imran.
Hi, Frank. Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. Thanks for this very enlightening presentation. I was just curious about having the problem-based learning implemented in one of the sites in the Global South at some point, maybe in the future, if not now, because I think most of these contexts are within some geographical proximity in the Global South, and it might be quite impactful in a sense to really have this happen, on site, where we see real life challenges and these kind of situations. The simulations are nice, but when the rubber meets the road, we usually have sort of different experiences and even the approaches on where to begin. And this happened several years ago, or several months ago. But if we have this, practically, and do it jointly with some people on site, I'm thinking for the future, this might also be very impactful in that sense, that people get to see and interact and engage with the community and all these facets that make up the entire ecosystem. But thank you. Yeah.
Thank you for that great suggestion, Frank. And it's something that we have been thinking about for a long time. In fact, when we originally conceived this course, it was a year before COVID, and it was meant to be an intensive 1 week in-person course, but we weren't able to do that because of COVID. We shifted to this online forum, which has this benefit of being able to bring many people from around the world together without the additional costs of travel, and have a lot of expertises and experiences together. Our goal is eventually to get that place again where we can deliver an online session, in-face session somewhere in the world. But we don't have the plans as yet, but I hear you about the benefits that would bring, and our plan is to get there in the next year or two. I saw somebody had raised their hand as well. Yeah, Nurzahad, go ahead.
you for providing, and I'm Zahid from Afghanistan. My question is regarding the registration fee for this course. I found it very interesting, but the problem is that the banking system here is not working properly, and I don't know I will transfer the amount fee for this course. Additionally, is there any chance of providing this course at lower discount for the particularly as you mentioned in your discussion as well for the developing countries such as Afghanistan, because I am working with INGO and when I went through the contents of the course, I found it very interesting and and I am sure that it will be very helpful for me because in the similar condition and situation I am working here. For example, the earthquake that has happened. So in that area, we were implementing the WASH project. Here, we have faced many kind of challenge as I have seen in the outline, like the behavior and some other issues. So not to lengthen my speaking, I hope you have heard of you have understood my question.
Yeah, great. Thank you to that. It was a little bit staticky, so I didn't catch the first part. So I'll ask if you just enter your first question in the text chat, and we can respond to that. The second question was about fees. So we are able to offer subsidized fees for participants from low and middle income countries. If you're with an INGO, and your INGO is not able to support your course fees, then please reach out to us. And we can, if you're paying out of pocket yourselves, then we can make an adjustment on a case-by-case basis. So please reach out to us on email to discuss that. The final question, I didn't quite catch it, but it sounded like you were describing, and I think it refers to a question you also had in the chat box about a specific situation that you were dealing with in your work as a WASH engineer. So the great thing about this course is that if you're coming with field experience, you're coming with questions that you either have dealt with in the past or you're dealing with now, this is a great opportunity to discuss that with WASH experts, like how to approach this challenge. So come with your questions. We really value that. We can bring the SME lecturers, the engineering faculty, the course teaching team, bring the whole course participants through the online discussion forum to feed into your questions and your challenges in a specific context. So that's another thing that we're able to do is help you work through your context-specific problems through this course. So please go ahead and, yeah, okay. If you had another component to your question, Nuzahad, go ahead and add it in the chat. Otherwise, we look forward to your email. Ashman, I see your hand is up. Ashman, you're muted if you're speaking now. So please unmute if you want to ask a question. There we go.
Sorry about that.
No worries.
Hi, Imran. My question is, I'm a Canadian, but a resident of Ethiopian. And I'm going to be here for the next 2 to 2.5 months. Okay. So how would I work around with the group session?
So the group sessions all happen online. So you'll follow it at the local time zone when you're here in Canada, and then whenever you shift back, let your team know, let the course teaching team know that you will be in a different time zone. It might take some adjustments as you get there, but your groups will what we can do is we'll confirm your location when you register for the course, and we'll design the group so that it's appropriate to either time zone. Yeah.
Perfect. Okay.
I'll make a note of that now. In fact, yeah. Thank you. Great.
Okay.
Okay. Are there any other questions? Great. Tariq, just go ahead, Jess.
I was going to say, yeah, I've had a couple of people ask me specifically about the course fees. Yeah. So I'll drop the link to the course fees on our website, which is the best place to confirm any of this. But just to give an overview, so we offer a subsidized fee of 600 Canadian dollars to local NGO or government agency participants from LMICs, that's lower and middle income countries. Graduate students from higher income countries get a subsidized fee of 850 Canadian dollars. INGO and UN employees get a subsidized fee of 1,850 Canadian dollars. And then other people applying from higher income countries pay the full fee, which is 2,600 Canadian dollars. And all those fees are plus tax, so tax is supplemental to that fee. So if you have any kind of questions about which fee tier you fit into, perhaps you've submitted an application and you've got a code to register for a fee tier that you feel like you should be in a different fee tier, please do reach out to us via email. I've shared that in the chat box, and you can find that in any of the emails that you've received from us. So yeah, let us know if you feel like that fee tier is not correct, or if you want to discuss your specific situation. We do also offer for some of those fee tiers, we offer an option to pay by installment, which means that we split the fee into three payments. So if you would like to do that, either use the link that you get when you receive your invitation email, or of course just get in touch with us at that address if you'd like to have any help with the registration process. If you haven't already applied and you'd like to apply, I would suggest you apply as soon as possible. You can do that through the website, which is hwe.dighr.org. Again, that's in the chat box. And that's the best way, really, of getting in touch with us if you're interested in applying and registering for the course, and that allows us to see your details and to understand your specific situation. Yeah, so we really look forward to seeing you on the course and to seeing your applications come in. We've had an amazing, very, very high caliber group of applications this year, so we're really excited about the course coming up. Lots of diversity, as I've said, from all over the world, lots of different applications. So yeah, we're really excited.
Great. So if you have any inquiries about course fees, I see another question came in about payments. Please reach out to us at the hwe@yorku.ca email, and we'll help you from that location. If you have any specific inquiries about the course content or methods or anything else, then you can reach out to me at my email, siali@yorku.ca as well. So on that note, thank you, James, for that wonderful concluding statement. I want to thank you all for your attention and joining us. We hope to welcome you onto the course, and we look forward to seeing you in a few weeks if you do. Wonderful. Take care, everybody. Have a great day.